Hello everybody and welcome to Vicky Pattison, The Secret To. This week I'm joined by not one but two fabulous guests. It's Michele Nightweight and Francesca Oddie, everybody, from the brand new show Written in the Stars. Woo! Hello lasses, how are you?
Brilliant.
Very good. Super excited to be talking to you.
Oh, well, the feeling's absolutely mutual, right? And before we go any further, can I just ask, was yours the show that was done in Greece?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was. So I think one of my friends was on it.
Oh.
So she was called Liat. Did you have Liat on?
No, we can say that.
Yeah, we can. That's been announced. Yeah.
Yes.
So
She's our Taurus.
Yes.
she's a Taurus. Oh my god, I'm dying. So this is amazing. Liat is she's like does all my social content. She's my photographer, and she's so sweet. And she was just having no luck with fellas. She really wasn't. I hope she doesn't mind us saying this, but I've had her in my house a couple of times crying. Our bloke, she just had no luck. And then we had this shoot booked in the Amalfi Coast, the start of this year, and she like rang me and she's like, I've got good news and I've got bad news. And I was like, oh my god, she's going to cancel on me for this shoot. What's the good news? What's the bad news? And she said, the good news is I can still come to the Amalfi. The bad news is I have to cut it like a tiny bit short. I says, no, that's absolutely fine as long as you're still going to be there. What's happened? She was like, I'm going on a TV show. And she told me all about it and was so excited for her. So I know you can't give us any spoilers, but did you look after her? Was she okay?
Yes, it was very intense because Taurians generally, they're very set in their ways. So it was a beautiful, intense experience. Earth signs need to change an earth sign, right? Because basically, if you have a relationship pattern, if you have a financial pattern, if you have a pattern in your life that you want to change, it always takes work. And Taurians could be like, no, I'm not going to change that. But we will see. No spoilers.
Yeah, sorry, I left that to Michele because I am so scared of saying too much as a classic Sagittarius. I'm just like, say nothing, then you can't do anything wrong. So thanks, Michele.
Is that a Sagittarian trait? Honestly,
yeah.
I am so into this. Like, I've got nowhere near as much knowledge as you lovely lasses, of course, but I've got nowhere near as a lot of knowledge at all. But whenever I get with a new bloke, which of course is never again and hasn't been for ages since I met a lovely plan. But yeah, I used to always be like, what's your star sign? And sit and work out like the compatibility and stuff. And I'm sure we'll get on to that in a minute. But yeah, I just wanted you to know I find it so interesting. So first things first, I think for people who are like new to all of this, potentially a little bit skeptical, talk us through what astrology is.
So astrology is the study of the planets and how they influence us in the most basic terms. Michele, go on.
So when you're born, your chart is the map of where the planets were and how that, it's almost, I call it, right? It's like it's a treasure map to your personality, right? So it's how you can use those planets for your benefit. But some people have challenging planets and some people have easy planets, but actually all of them have both sides. And when you study your own birth chart, that's when you can come into your own magical being. So it's your syllabus for life.
I love that. I love the idea that it's a treasure map to your personality, because there's all those memes, isn't there, that goes around on Instagram, and I bet you guys absolutely hate them, but they're like, it's not because you're a Scorpio, Sharon, you're just an arsehole. You must have seen all of those. I am actually a Scorpio, that's why I felt comfortable using that one, and I am also a bit of an arsehole, so I felt like that was an okay example. But yeah, do you often find that sometimes people use their star signs as a bit of an excuse for their potentially less desirable qualities?
I find the opposite. Well, in my experience, like my wife is a triple Gemini. Anyway, I'm not allowed to say that's because you're a Gemini anymore. I'm banned from that, but she is so Gemini. But she would never accept any of her Gemini traits. I think, I don't know, my experience, a lot of people, I do. I go, I'm an Aries, that's why. So I say things in the moment.
And I'm very
passionate. Yeah. Sagittarians are the truth monsters, I call them, in a positive way.
Yeah, but that's why I can't talk about the show, because I'm a truth monster. So if you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you. And even I'm trying not to give away spoilers, but it's like, And with astrology as well, the thing, I do love the memes because there's truth in it, and we are all our sun signs, even though, like, Michelle's an Aries and I'm a Sag, I've got the moon in Taurus. So there's a very different part. And that's the whole beauty of astrology and what your horoscope and what your birth chart is, because it's all the other bits. Like, you're a Scorpio, but we've had a look at your chart.
Have you?
And yeah.
Oh, I feel like that's very exciting. Oh
my God. There is so many interesting things to do with you and to do with your relationship. We'll come on to that later. But you are like a psychic detective, right? You're very intuitive and you're super intense, which I imagine when you were younger, you found, and maybe other people found, quite difficult to deal with, right? Because you've got Pluto, the Lord of Transformation, in Scorpio, and you've got Mercury in Scorpio. So you're basically a triple, but not with Pluto being there as well. It makes you, I mean, wow, I wouldn't want to mess with you, darling. But also, if you're interested in someone, you want to know the ins and outs. You like scurry in to find out every element.
But that,
when everything, really, I think I'd say you like that about everything. You are like,
no, I am.
Deep.
I'm like a dog with a bone.
Exactly that.
With everything. So even if we just like sit down to watch a Netflix series, for example, say we've popped on something true crimey, it's not enough. Like Erkan, my partner, will just sit there and kick back and relax, and he will happily like enjoy the viewing experience. I'll be sitting there on my phone fucking Googling absolutely every single detail, and I'll be like, do you know he actually kills more people than that? Or do you know he grew up here? Or do you know, and I'll be like, that's not what exactly happened. Like, I have to know everything, lasses. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not enough for me to just be given a little bit of information. I want it all.
Yeah, it's funny you said dog with a bone because it's Pluto.
Oh!
Pluto is the dog.
Is that where that comes from?
Yeah. Well, there's so many synchronicities with astrology. Like when I first started learning it, I was like, this is mad because it relates to everything. And Pluto rules Scorpio, and dogs dig for bones and bury them, and that's kind of in your personality as well because you got Mercury, Pluto, as Michele just said.
That was a lovely little connection there as well. Okay, so obviously, I feel like not everybody listening to this podcast is going to. I can hear him being a little bastard behind me. What are you doing?
The dog?
Yeah. No, me fella.
I saw the talk of Pluto.
So lasses, right? For everybody listening, because I'm sure there's people from every different star sign, and I don't want it to take too long, but I do think people will find this super interesting. What's a couple key characteristics of all the different star signs? So let's start with the first one. Is it Capricorn in the year?
Aries.
Okay, hit me with a couple of Aries facts.
Go on, Aries, impulsive, very childlike, very demanding, but super exciting and generous.
Oh, that's... Perfect. I think the Aries sound lovely. Okay, next one.
Taurus, loyal, steady, stubborn. And stubborn is a small word for like a state of being that doesn't move. So very kind, very calm, but quite fixed.
Okay. Next up.
Gemini, chatty, charming, very changeable, very quick-witted and hilarious.
Oh, I bet you have a lovely time with your missus then.
I do,
fab. Okay, next up.
Cancer. Cancer is loving, caring, very sensitive, slightly defensive, and extremely nurturing.
Oh, that's lovely. There's loads of good qualities in all of them, isn't there?
We could savage them, but we're not doing that.
Not the podcast for it, lasses. Well, lovely here. Okay, what's the next one?
Leo.
So my sister's a Leo and my dad's a Leo. So I feel like, go on, tell me about this one.
So very generous of spirit. If they love you, they're super generous and they're super open and warm and powerful, and they radiate power. When they walk into the room, you can see them, even the quiet ones, actually. I mean, the downside is they need a lot of attention, right? So if they need to be seen and they need to be acknowledged for who they are.
Okay. And
appreciated.
Oh, well, you know, I feel like I can say a lot of that in my sister and my dad. That's actually quite bob on. Okay, next one.
Virgo. So Virgo is helpful, humble, like meticulous. I love, if I have an assistant or anyone help me, I want a Virgo because they're going to see all my mistakes. They're going to see all my typos. They clean everything up. And every sign is kind of really different to the one before. So if you want to understand what a Virgo is, look at Leo and be like, Virgo's here to clean up after the Leo. and be of service and they want to help people.
But do you know what? Because they're ruled by Mercury, they're really funny,
continue.
actually.
Go on,
and
go on.
a lot of comedians I know are Virgo. They're hidden. I think they're misunderstood, actually, because they're, like, for instance, their sign is the Virgin. But in ancient times, Virgin meant belonging to no one. And I think that they have that very self-contained and ability. But funny.
Love that. Yeah, very funny.
I was thinking there, because obviously Erkan's a Virgo, isn't he? He's a Virgo.
Oh, yeah.
He is a Virgo, isn't he? Yeah. And I am chaos personified, lasses, like million miles an hour. Like, I want to do everything all the time, and, you know, to my own detriment, actually, sometimes. Like, I take on too much. And, like, he's just quietly there, like...
Yeah, but you know what's interesting? You've got Moon in Virgo, right? So your Moon, which is the planet of your emotions, your nurturing, your emotional needs, is in Virgo. So that's one of the key points of compatibility that you both have.
So we are compatible then?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very intense.
I like hearing that. I think we are quite intense. I think I bring most of the intensity. I think Erkan's far more of like calm, kind, brings like a more measured approach to everything, where I'm just like, fucking love me.
Yeah, but you know, looking at your chart, I would say when you met, I mean, I wish we had the times, to be honest with you. It's much more specific with the times. But when you met, there was such an intense, instant, you know, almost meant to be attraction, that in the beginning, he couldn't have escaped you. There was, you know, he felt you immediately. So that's there in your chart with that. There's a very Pluto connection.
So we did feel that. I mean, obviously, I kind of feel like I've romanticized it a little bit because I love him so much, and, you know, we're getting married and everything. But lasses, like, we did feel there was something different with me and Erkan. Like, I'd had this horrible breakup. I was really low on self-confidence. I didn't feel like myself. I was having a big pity party, if I'm honest with you. And we got talking over Instagram. How very millennial of us. And we arranged, and, you know, like, at the time there was a couple of fellas in me DMs, so we were doing it.
Nice.
I know. She doesn't mean to brag, but yeah. So and he was like the only one that I felt this burning desire to meet. You know, like it. And I was so pleased I did, obviously, but I was nervous on the way before he got there. I was tearful through the day. I was really like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? And honestly, on that date, he reached across and held. I got upset over what had just happened to us. I had, like I say, a bit of a dramatic breakup, and he just reached across the table and held me hand. And it was such a simple gesture, but I remember thinking to myself, like, it was really intimate and kind. And I went to the toilet and texted all my pals, and I went, fucking buy a hat, lasses, because I'm marrying this fella.
But if you were on Written in the Stars, we would have looked at
we'd
that,
have matched
we?
you.
We
would definitely have put you two together.
His Virgo talks to your Moon, right? So he talks to your emotion. He understands you emotionally. Over to you. Sorry, I'll get overexcited.
No, I'm overexcited as well, Michelle. So we're both going because I looked at this yesterday and was like, this is brilliant. There's nothing, we don't have to pretend, do we? Like, we would have put you two together. He's a Virgo, you've got the Virgo Moon. It's just lovely because he sees the Moon is who you are deep down. We don't show everyone that. We don't show everyone who we really, really are. And you don't have to pretend because he sees you in that very, like, Virgo way. We were on Virgo, weren't we? Like, just a kind hand-holding.
And it's Mercury, right? Mercury is the planet of communication, right? So that's how he communicates. So it's not just his sun. That's the exciting thing about astrology. So his Mercury, his communication, talks to your heart and your emotional needs. And there's this connection. And then, therefore, he feels understood.
So is there an element of it that's like, you know how people say, oh, my love language is X, Y, and Z, and my love language is X, Y, and Z. Is there an element of that there as well? Like, your star sign affects your love language?
100%.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
So there's Aries, much more, you know, Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the love languages, there's only 5, aren't there? Whereas astrology is just so bespoke. It's so, like, unique to you because you've got this depth side to you that's really intense and really quite sensitive, but then you've got this other side to you that's like really extrovert and chaos and friendly and really open and like a puppy dog. And there's these two sides to you, and you're compatible in both areas, in as much as he's kind of feisty and fun, and you both quite glam, and you've both got Venus in a fire sign, and you like to live the good life. But at home, you're both quite steady, practical, quiet, really.
Cozy.
And you've got that in common.
Sorry, lasses, because honestly, it feels a little bit creepy now, because you're nailing every single thing, and I'm like, is there a camera? Like, can you see us at night when we're just so cozied up and chilled and like away from away from the chaos of everything? But do people often get a bit emotional when you do this with them? Because it does feel like you've got this inside track on what I'm really like, and that's invasive, like I love it because you're telling me everything I want to hear.
But you're a Scorpio.
Yeah.
And you're like, back off.
No, I am a bit like, wow, like do people sometimes
Scorpios don't like it.
Do they?
Yeah. In all of my life, right?
Get off your fucking head.
Yeah, Scorpios get really suspicious when you start getting it right? Other signs are like, wow, oh yeah,
tell me.
I can understand your reaction, but that's why this show is so great, because no spoilers, there may have been some tears, because it's deep. It's not like, it's not superficial. It's not just people meeting. In this show, we help people communicate. We help people understand each other, because, everyone assumes everyone's telepathic. Everybody has the same needs and desires. And then when you're with someone and they behave in a way, you take it personally, right? But if you know, oh, hang on a minute, that person's moon in Pisces, right? So they need emotion to be seen emotionally, and they need the romance, and they need feeling. But you're with someone who's got, let's say, moon in Aquarius, who sort of analyzes emotions and doesn't feel or relate emotionally in that way. These people are going to go, oh, that person doesn't like me, that person this, when it's just they're different animals.
Yeah.
And it's teaching them to relate.
That's so important though, because like I can't tell you how many dates me mates have been on, or how many dates I've been on, and I've come back and I've just gone, fella was a fucking knob. Fella was a knobhead. And actually, like you, like in some cases potentially you might have been, there are just some people who are knobs, but it could have been something like that I just didn't understand,
Yeah.
And it's so interesting. And we'll pick up with the rest of the star signs after in part 2, but I want to know more about the show, lasses. So were you able to, don't give us spoilers because I'm so excited to watch, but were there some fireworks? Were there some amazing connections? Was there some real like tantrums and tears? Was it everything I want from reality TV, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Oh, yous must have been, and this I root for people really hard, whether I'm watching like Love Island, Love is Blind, Towie, me and Chelsea. I root for people. Like, did you have some couples that you were just really hoping that would get together and work it out?
I think we loved them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely.
I mean, everybody had their, because of our own star signs and how we relate. We might all have had kind of, mew. I hope that works out. But yeah, we did. Everybody, I have to say, everybody was extremely extraordinary. It was the most exciting, fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life, watching astrology in action. It was unbelievable.
Exactly, because they were all pretty new to astrology, and as much as some of them, like you, Vicky, they knew their sun sign, they knew a bit, but to see them learn all their astrology and relate to it and relate to one another was incredible for us.
And a lot of cynics. There was a lot of cynics, like really a load of crap. So it's interesting to see everybody's journey.
I think that must be the most rewarding bit, lasses, for yous to take someone who is very cynical, thinks like they have it all figured out, they don't need any of this crap, and actually make them converts.
No spoilers. You've
got to give us something, lasses. Come on.
Well, I think what is interesting is the more cynical, right? Wherever they end up at the end of the show, right? When you actually point out something like we've just done to you, there's no denying the truth, is there? So, somebody's pointing something out and that you never even told anyone. It's interesting. Put it that way.
Yeah. No,
it's amazing.
It is. And like, apart from anything else, girls, right? Like, obviously I know from my Leah who was there, you're in like it was Greece, right?
Yeah.
So you're in the sunshine, the sea, the sand, a gorgeous resort, loads of gorgeous young star signs kicking about. Like, come on,
and food
and fantastic food. Oh, do you know how much I love a Greek salad? Oh, feta cheese. Oh,
we had a few Greek salads.
Yeah, after 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a lot. But you've got to, like, for everybody like listening who's probably a big reality TV fan like me, there must have been some romance. Like, I want to know if there was anything a little bit cheeky. Give a tiny bit of goss. Come on. Did anything get successful under the sheets, so to speak?
You have to watch.
You have to watch.
Oh, do you know what? Yous have been too fucking media trained. I prefer yous like a couple of months before.
Terrified.
Yeah. You're our first one, so.
Oh, well, I feel like I'm taking. These are doing very well considering I'm taking your virginity.
Put it this way: there was 12 couples, right? So do the math.
That's good.
It was sunny. It was hot.
Yeah.
They were on holiday.
That's good enough for me, girls. I'm definitely going to be watching. I absolutely loved chatting to you in part 1. I want to learn more about myself and more about me and Erkan in part 2. But we've got to finish off those star signs for everybody listening, okay?
Perfect.
Fabulous.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of Vicky, Pattison, The Secret 2. We have a very special guest now, a little cameo. He's begrudgingly joined. I'm with not only the gorgeous girls, Michele and Francesca, from Written in the Stars, but I'm also with my Erkan. Hello.
How are we doing, everyone?
Nice to see you.
This is me, and I just come off the toilet, and she's just.
There's got to be something about his star sign being really honest, surely, because he can't keep anything to himself. I want to know, because I really do believe in all of this, and like it brings me a real level of like reassurance when I find out we're sort of very compatible. But yeah, I want to know all about Erkan and his star sign, and I want to know if we're compatible.
Oh no.
Yes. Okay, so tell the ladies all your info.
Okay, so I am a Virgo. I was born on September the 6th, 1993.
He's a baby.
I was born,
like that.
Mum said to me I was born at 9 p.m. at night.
She'd remember, babe.
I think so.
Yeah.
You're very loyal. Sorry.
No, you are.
And
steady.
So I can go out more often now.
Oh yeah. You are so full of shit.
Well, I'm booking a date with the lads.
He acts like he's on a leash. He's not, lasses, I'm telling you.
In all seriousness, both of you, the one thing I would warn you in your relationship is there's such an intense passion between you that you might be tempted to control each other because you have this kind of an intensity about you. But, you know, that's the least thing, because everything else here is so positive. Your moon is in Taurus. Everybody needs someone with a moon in Taurus in their life, because when you're emotionally loyal, it's so important to you. And you when you commit completely. And clearly you have committed, and you will just love Vicky more and more and more as the time goes on. And you emotionally speak to each other. You feel each other. You give each other what you both need, almost in the opposite way. Over to you, Francesca.
Yeah, well, I've got the moon in Taurus, and I always say it's a Scorpio magnet. I'm like, why do I have all these bloody Scorpios in my life? Because Scorpio's kind of intense and a roller coaster, but Taurus and Scorpio just love each other, and they are fixed signs. They are so loyal. Who is more stubborn out of the two of you? Is stubbornness a thing?
So yeah, it is a real issue, and it's one thing like I've really had to I've had to unlearn. I've always been stubborn. I've both
quite stubborn.
Yeah, you are, babes, actually. But I've always been the one in a relationship who's like, I'm not texting him. He can fuck off. Like really adamant, and just actually a little bit. I suppose actually mine verged on spiteful how stubborn I became. And then I got
Scorpio.
Yeah, 110%, mate. Yeah, I love me good qualities at a Scorpio, but I've got to own the bad ones as well, I suppose. So yeah, that's me. But I got with him, and I was like, Jesus Christ! I thought I was stubborn. What is this? So I've had to unlearn that habit a little bit, because there's just no when it comes to him, there's just no getting around it. Like, I'm always the one who has to go, are we going to fall out all night, or should we just put this to one side, you know? Because
But you know what?
For it.
You feel safe, right? So you have dropped your guard a bit because you know that he's steady, and that's what you needed. There's no bullshit. There's no games. He's just steady. So even if he's stubborn steady, you know that he's just there. He's earthing you. He's grounding you.
And you can trust each other. And I think that's because I have this pattern, have had it in my relationships as well. And I've got a cousin who's like really Taurus, kind of similar to Erkan, and his girlfriend is also really Taurus. And I said to them, like, when you fall out, how long do you leave it? Because it's the choice to love one another, isn't it? And maybe that's the fiery bit in you, but that's why you can have your birth chart, and we all have our birth charts, but at a certain point we decide to how to respond and how to behave. And you've both chosen to not be stubborn and to love one another, but you could, with the same horoscope, still make the same mistakes. And that's like the free will bit, isn't it? I guess.
I don't know though, because I would say, Vicky, you've got your Venus in Sagittarius, right? Sagittarius, Venus is the way that you love, right? So it would be painful for you to be stuck in a dynamic where you're not talking, right? So your Sagittarius can reach out. Your superpower, Venus in Sagittarius, gives you the ability to reach out and also to be honest, which Erkan responds to and goes, all right then. So it's a beautiful connection.
It's so good.
It's good news.
You think it's a really good connection then?
Yeah.
I love it.
We would have put you together for sure.
Yeah.
Because you've both got that honest, open, fun bit, and you've both got the stubborn, loyal, caring, deep, devoted bit.
God, lasses, it's mad because honestly, I always say, like, I have had this really toxic habit of going for the same bloke, just like in a slightly different package, and I did it for years. And the one not you, you're wonderful. And then I met Erkan, and like, he's not dead loud, and he's not like obnoxious and ostentatious and all those things I used to go for in blokes, thinking that I had to have this like huge personality that would be able to deal with me. He's calm and kind and like more measured, and it was mad. Like, at first I just was attracted to him because he's lush, but then the more I got to know him, the more I was like, oh my God, all these qualities I didn't think I needed are like speaking to me soul. And it's just been, we've gone from strength to strength, and I absolutely love all the nice things you bring out in us.
I'm loving these compliments, by the way.
Out the door after this, but
do you know what made you change, Vicky? Like, just out of interest, what made you like decide? Is it just because you met him and he was hot and then he was kind to you? But had something changed in you before you met him?
Oh God. So I'd been really hurt, quite publicly, actually. And like I think part of growing up, part of life, part of everything is getting your heart broken. Unfortunately, it's just one of those like grazed knees you've got to have, like, as a human being. But I was desperate to sort of break that cycle of self-sabotage that I was in with me love life, picking these same really mean boys. And Erkan was just initially just so handsome. I think I saw a picture of him with these fucking top off lasses, if I'm honest, and I was like, yeah.
Not with his beard and
no, you're good. I saw that, and we were on this date, and he did this seemingly very innocent gesture of leaning across the table and holding my hand. Can you remember that on my first date? Yeah, he was so you probably can't remember, but it was beautiful.
Brave. Cocktail.
But yeah, it went from there, and the more like the softer and kinder and slower and everything he was with us, just encouraged.
But you wouldn't have been ready for that if you weren't ready for that, right? So everybody has their pattern. I had a pattern of always wanting to save and be the strong one and look after. That didn't get me anywhere. And my wife is the only person in my life that defends and looks after me. But the reason I met her, and I never forget, is because I suddenly went, no, I'm enough. And I'm actually just going to enjoy myself and be free within myself. Literally met her 10 minutes later. I'm not even joking.
10 minutes.
because it was. Exactly well, maybe an hour. But I think this is what happens when we respect ourselves, when we suddenly go, hang on a minute, I've had enough of this. It's like magic because everything in life is a pattern, perpetual pattern like this. And it's when you stop the pattern, it shifts.
Yeah, agree. Because when we both started talking, we both come out of a serious relationship, so we both wasn't ready for this, basically. So we're both coming in newly single, had a lot going on, and then it just clicked. We both said, "Listen, let's not rush. Let's keep it simple. Have some dates." But then we just got so attached,
so fast,
and every date got better and better. Everything before just vanished, and we just dived in, basically.
But
I'm thrilled for you.
Thanks, mate. And Michele,
written in the stars.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
written in
on.
stars.
Get it in.
Michele, it's so mad that you say that about how when you decided to actually like love yourself and give yourself the respect you deserve, like that's the place I was in. You know, I was like very much done with sort of settling for less than I deserved, trying to be this like rehabilitation centre for men. Like,
yes.
you know, and I was so like, I wasn't fixing these fellas. Like, if anything, they were just breaking me more and more.
Yep.
And it was a conscious decision to stop being that, like, you know, like, I don't know, like that rehabilitation centre, and starting putting myself first. And that's what brought Erkan, I believe.
And that's the magic
Literally.
dust, right?
Yeah.
That is the secret. Yeah. You know, the secret is you've got to love yourself, and not in that old cliche way. You've got to love yourself first. Well, it is a cliche for a reason, but to truly just actually, do you know what the secret is? To go, I've had enough. Actually, I've actually had enough, and then that's when the changes happen. So I am thrilled for you. It's such a beautiful connection. I mean, it's lovely to witness.
Yeah.
It's actually lush to hear it, because obviously we know, and this is so silly, but we know that we're a good match. Like, I know that we complement each other well, whether it's like the day-to-day running of the house, or whether it's like our banter, or even just how I think we're both helping each other reach our goals and stuff. Like, I think we're a good match. But when you hear like two experts like yourself say it, it does give me warm and fuzzies. Does it make you?
I made the right decision.
Okay. Is there any advice you can give her? Because God, I'm glad he's fucked off. Is there any advice you can give her? Because sometimes he's back. I'm so honest and so open and want to communicate so much. And sometimes I feel like Erkan's that little bit hesitant with us. Like, I
that's
feel
not
like
you. That's not you, and that's not him. That's his chart, right? He's got Mercury. The way he communicates is very measured because Mercury's in Virgo. The Virgin finds it really difficult, right? Yes, but
she's helped me grow.
But that Taurus will give you that actually, I'll tell you this, because he's got that moon in Taurus, the more he's with you, the more he'll open up, and he expresses his love in his sensuality, right? I bet he's very sensual and very affectionate, and a lover that is very
always trying it, Michele. Yeah.
But I think the longer it goes on, the more he'll open up. So that's the good news.
I've definitely been together 4 years now, and it's
say again.
We've been together 4 years now, and it's just I've only just started to open up and just taking on what she says. And
he does really struggle with it.
I do struggle,
he does. And like I've said,
I sort of just keep it to myself.
I know. And like, I don't know if it's like Turkish Cypriot upbringing, like men were strong, and like, or whether it's, you know, something to do with like his sign and stuff. But
it's the Virgo.
The Virgo, yeah, it must be. Because honestly, like, I'm the polar opposite, and I've been chipping away at him, like trying to get him to be that little bit more emotionally in tune and like open.
Oh, I'll give you a hack. I'll give you a hack for him, because his Venus is in Leo, right? So he loves compliments and he loves to feel good. So when you want to sort of get a Leo to open up, you have to start with the, you know, you have to give the affirmation and the attention, and then they will accidentally open up. So that's your hack for the Leo in general, but Venus in Leo in this case.
So just like massage the ego a little bit, give him everything he wants to hear, and then
it has to be authentic. But yes, if you authentically tell him the really good stuff in him, and he feels that, he will be beaming out, and he will reciprocate. Francesca, you got any hacks?
Yeah, well, I'm just looking and trying to think what would make him, you know, because they've got a lovely Mercury Moon connection. So you'd think there'd be a bit chatty there. So I'm like, why is he quieter? Well, the Taurus Moon is quiet anyway. I've got the Taurus Moon, and my mum used to pick me up from school, and I'd be like, will you stop? Stop talking. I'm trying to just be quiet for a minute. So there is that, like, Taurus is the cow in the field, just like, give me a minute, like. But also Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn is who we are, like our backbone, who we are deep, deep, deep down. Yeah. And Aquarius, as I think we mentioned already today, it is a bit more rational and in their head, and a bit more kind of disconnected from emotion, more kind of wants to think things through, and maybe and just not that necessarily open. So it could be that, but because you're having your Saturn return around now, Erkan, you could really be changing in that sphere and become much more chatty and want to open up and feel more level about communicating, not feel that it's, I don't know, threatening or leaving you too vulnerable.
Yeah. And that's what I think it is. Like it's like this fear of being vulnerable, this fear of being judged, the fear of people knowing what's inside. And God, I wear my heart on my sleeve, me. So that's never ever been a factor in like how I act. But I've had to learn that with him, and I'm so pleased you gave me that hack, because I'm definitely going to implement it when I want the truth.
Now he knows you're hacking him.
Yeah, you're so open.
So weary, you know.
No, you're handsome, you're kind, you're lovely.
No, I'm not buying it. I'm still saying about it.
Okay, so give me some of, right, lasses, I will swear we'll do the end of the list in a second, but give me some of Erkan's like key traits as like a Virgo.
Key traits.
He wants to do everything right? They can, the shadow side, they can be critical, but they can be self-critical, right?
Mm.
So
and
what's that?
You're so self-critical.
Yeah, that's me.
So you need to overcome that.
Decisive as well, because you can't fucking make a decision to save.
Yeah, Mars in Libra. You've both got Mars in Libra, so I would say that's a bit both of you. But yeah, Mars, Jupiter in Libra lives on the fence a bit, like peacemaker, wants to be friends with everyone.
You can't even order a takeaway, lasses.
Honestly, it takes us about an hour to order a takeaway or pick a film or pick a restaurant or pick.
I'm slightly better, though. I'm slightly better.
Yeah.
God, tell me more. This is
I'll just
so
say, ladies first. You got to pick. End of.
Yeah,
and I think it's also they don't like to make mistakes. Virgos don't like to make mistakes, which is what. So they want to do everything exactly right, which then sort of makes them a bit tense when they're doing something. So it's like you've got to let yourself off the hook and know that you are.
I'm trying to be a perfectionist. I don't want to make a mistake. I just don't want to get caught.
Yeah, in a trap. But it's like taking that leap of faith, though, Erkan.
I know, it's unhealthy.
Because you live in a world of possibility with the South Node in Gemini and this like, oh, we could do this, we could do that. But it's listening to your heart a bit more and being like, okay, I could do this, 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 and this, but I want to do this. And this excites me. And then going for that, like go for what excites you instead of being like, well, this excites me, but I've heard that this is good and Vicky might want to do
overanalyze.
Yeah. It's like, because you've like, we've spoken about that Venus in Leo knows what it wants and is very passionate and very enthusiastic. But if you're outsourcing that to Vicky, then you're just a bit like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So like, Vicky, think about that, right? Think about the compliment. Now you know him, right? You think about what a big deal it was for him to take that risk to hold your hand. I mean, that was brave. Because that's not his nature, right? Think about it now. How deep that was that he did that.
Oh.
I'm going to cry.
Oh, no. He always cries, honestly.
Oh, stop it. There's something about you're being a big fanny in there as well, because I do always cry.
It's a water sign, so...
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do the rest of this.
Right.
I'm so happy.
Thank you, ladies.
Say thank you.
A pleasure.
Bye. Lovely to meet you.
And enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Bye, puppet. What are you doing, mummy? Right, lasses. I feel like I've been really greedy, girls, because actually I just love this and it was so exciting. And I've talked all about myself and Erkan, which is so selfish. For the rest of our lovely listeners who are, various different star signs, could we pick up where we left off? We just done Virgo. What's the next one?
Libra.
Okay, talk me through some Libra traits.
Libra, like you and Erkan with your Mars in Libra, are balanced, harmonious. They're always, seeing the other side of the story, hyper diplomatic. But Libra is the art of getting other people to do what you want and they thank you for it. So it's like Libra is the opposite of Aries. Libra wants to get their own way as much as Aries, but instead of being like really direct about it, they're kind of around the houses about it.
Oh, the sneakiness of Libras, I love that. Okay, so next it is Scorpio, right?
Yes.
And we know
Scorpio. Yeah, we do. Intense. And they are life, death, rebirth, sex, obsession, power in a nutshell. And they can lean towards any of these things. That's just an everyday 24 hours in a Scorpio's life, right? But you know what? They would survive. They're survivors, which makes them sometimes not trusting because they could see everything. So the key to being a Scorpio is to just, it's as safe to trust as not trust.
And keep being reborn.
Fascinating.
Scorpio tend to have one crisis. Like they complete transformation into the reality, into the depths of life and back out again.
I see myself as a bit of a survivor, so that's really interesting,
And you'll always survive. That's the joy.
Just us Scorpios and the cockroaches at the end. Next up, Sagittarius, right?
Yes.
Okay, amazing. And that's you, isn't it, Fran?
Yeah. Okay. So open, honest, friendly truth monsters, as Michele says. Like there is that like foot in mouth because you're just saying everything. It's clumsy, like tripping up over things, but also verbally clumsy, and you're like, oh God. But very international, likes learning, traveling, adventure, puppy dog. And you've got a lot of Sag in you, which is why you're like super open about everything.
Oh, that's nice because I think Scorpio gets this reputation as really tough and like we've said, you sort of survivor, distrusting, like difficult to figure out all these things. And I think, have defo's got that side, but there is just this big dopey puppy dog side of me that I'm just like Milo, really. Like I'm trusting. I love everybody. I want everyone to have a nice time. So it's nice to know I've got a bit of that lovely softer side in us too.
Yeah, and as well, like when both of us joined this call, we were like, oh God, gotta like clean up all the mess behind us, just like get rid of it. That's really Sagittarius behavior. The Scorpio would be clinical and like no one will be able to see what's behind you. But the Sagittarius in you's like,
lastminute.com.
Last minute, yeah.
Okay, so definitely leaning more to a Sag than a Scorp in that sense, because I'm fucking chaos, lasses. Is that all of them? Did we do our 12?
No, we got to go. Capricorn.
Capricorn is the goat up the mountain, right? They will reach their goal come what may. They're very stubborn. They're very hardworking. I mean, super stubborn, triply times stubborn. But they'll get the job done. You can rely on them, and they'll get the job done, and they will never give up because they will get to the top of that mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So, me mum, again, dog with a bone or a goat with a mountain. That's it. Getting it done. Last but no means least.
Then we got Aquarius, Pisces.
Two. Come on, hit me.
So Aquarius is super friendly. So in astrology, you're always looking at the sign opposite. So Leo and Aquarius are partnered. Leo's on the stage. Aquarius is the audience. Everyone's equal. They are the people in Parliament Square, like fighting. They're activists. They care about humanity. They care about people. That said, they are very, very rational. And if you look at the symbol for Aquarius, it's the vase with the water in, kind of inspecting the water. So water symbolizes emotion. So when it comes to emotions, like, interesting. There's a kind of detachment.
Right. But they allow everybody to be exactly who they are. They're non-judgmental, actually, which is great.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, really, like the Greatest Showman. Everyone is who they are. That's it. Come as you are and take you at face value.
That would sounds to me like they'd make very good friends.
Yes, it's a sign of friendship, actually.
I'm getting good at this. Yeah. Okay, last one.
Pisces. I love Pisces. They're very emotional. They're very romantic. They're very empathetic. They're very feeling. They can fall for illusions, though. They'll always see the good in someone, so they can be very easily tricked or trick themselves with their own fantasies. But they are sort of really the magical element of the zodiac, so they can create magic easier, but they're super vulnerable. Power. I love Pisces. Great.
Yeah, this is like the final sign of the zodiac. It's the culmination of everything. It's super spiritual, super magical, but like Michele said, can fall into fantasy. if we're giving everyone a bit of a hard time.
Well, you've got to see both sides of the coin, haven't you? Like, nobody's perfect. But I love that there's great there's great qualities in each and every single one, and I hope our lovely listeners took something from that, because I know I did. Lasses, I know you're so busy. I'm so grateful you've took time out of your day to chat to us. I know it was a bit chaotic, and I swear you probably won't believe us, but this has been more chaotic than it normally is. I'm normally a lot calmer.
It's because we were here.
So I'm going to let you go, but before you do, here at Vicky, Pattison, The Secret Too, we always ask our gorgeous guests to give our lovely listeners a little secret, a pearl of wisdom, if you will. And based on your fantastic new show, and also everything you've, all of the amazing stuff you've told me about me and Erkan, that's really reassured me that I'm in exactly the right spot for me with the right person. I would love you to tell us what your secret is to finding your soulmate.
I think it's really interesting for a start, like maybe your advice, decide that you're not going to take any more shit, and then you'll meet someone. And the beauty of astrology is you will have if you're compatible with someone and you get on with someone, it feels like magic. You will be compatible with them. But if you're interested in the process and you want to sort of have some confirmation, understand why you connect, look at your chart and look at what's connected. A sun and moon in the same sign, so Erkan's a Virgo and you've got the moon in Virgo. That is called the cosmic marriage. That's what astrologers call that. And that is lovely. You do feel great when your moon and sun are connected. And also he's got the Taurus moon and you're a Scorpio, and they're opposites, like May and November are opposite, in the year. So simple things like that, being the same as someone, or opposites attract. That's really good. And if you want to find your soulmate with astrology, that's kind of the basics. But also remember, because a mistake I used to make before I was a professional astrologer is don't overthink it. And if you've decided that the astrology is incompatible, but you still like them, you might be missing some astrological nuance. So go for it anyway. The astrology works, but the love is more important.
No, that's lovely, mate, isn't it? Like, sometimes you can get too in your own head, can't you? And it doesn't matter whether you're fixated on the astrology, or you're fixated on where he went to school, or you're fixated on like whether his mum likes you or not. Like, all those things are the minor details as far as I'm concerned. Focus on what's in front of you, how you make each other feel, and that should be all that you need to know, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hello, darling.
I've absolutely loved talking to you both today. I'm so excited to watch the show, and trust me when I say I am going to be watching it.
Yes.
Can't wait, man. So when does it start?
27th of November. Michele, where's your mic?
She's on mute.
Oh, she's on mute. Sorry.
That's right. 27th of November. Lasses, I'll be watching, and thanks again.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been great. You popped our podcast cherry.
Oh, and I hope it wasn't too bloody chaotic and mental. This is just my life.